Hi everyone, in this video it's just going to be a really quick video talking about Jupiter transits. I wanted to do a quick video about this, and I've been thinking about it for a while because Jupiter, well, since I knew Jupiter was going to start to go direct, and it's direct now, Jupiter in Leo. Most people that know something about astrology get pretty excited when they know that Jupiter's going direct, and it is exciting because it means usually that there's going to be forward movement in, in terms of your path, in terms of your personal growth and what you want to achieve in life. And but what I also want to talk about really is what to expect when you have a Jupiter transit. So a personal transit, sorry, a transit from Jupiter to your personal placement. So specifically your sun, your ascendant, your moon. Also I want to talk about the sort of lesser known or less talked about or less hyped side of a Jupiter transit. So firstly, say you've got a Jupiter trine coming up, and at the moment Jupiter's in Leo. So if you're a Sagittarius or an Aries, Jupiter will be, depending on your degree, it will be trining your sun. If it's around 12, 13, 14 degrees and onwards, you'll get a trine from Jupiter to your sun. And this is a really good transit. This is a very positive, boosting transit that will definitely bring you opportunities to expand on your path in life and to grow. And so sometimes what can happen though, and I've experienced this myself, is when you have a Jupiter transit, so a conjunction or a trine, or I would say more a conjunction or a trine, is that the desire to move forward and to grow is so strong that it can actually push things out of the way. Jupiter is such an expansive, planet, that it can push things out of the way, and you can find yourself moving so far forward in your life that you're leaving behind people or places that you've known. So, Jupiter is a planet associated with Sagittarius. It's associated with taking a risk. So taking a risk to follow a feeling of faith, of excitement, of your true path, your inspiration. And sometimes that means leaving behind a comfort zone. And so that can have difficulties associated with it, obviously. In my personal experience, back in 2003, I had a Jupiter trine. What did I have? Jupiter trine. I can't remember what it was now. It was a personal placement. I've got a lot of Earth in my chart, and Jupiter had gone into Virgo back then. Anyway, so I had a Jupiter trine to one of my placements, and it really pushed me out of a rut that I was in, and I was craving a change in my life, and I decided just off my own steam to break out of a situation that I'd been in for a very, very long time. And it was a big element of risk taking for me because I didn't know how things were going to work out. I had very little money behind me to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to move, from where I was living 3 hours to a different city, and there was a lot of risk involved with that for me, and I've got a lot of Earth in my chart, so I like my stability, but I also have an Aquarius moon, so I crave change sometimes when I feel that feeling that things need to change. So I made this change, and it ultimately brought a lot of good into my life, but there was a lot of tests that I had to face as well. So what I want to say is, Jupiter pushes you forward, it pushes you onward, but it also can mean leaving behind comforts. And if you're a very earthy person, if you've got like an Earth moon or an Earth sun or an Earth rising, you can be very attached, or even a Cancerian moon or Cancerian sun, you can be very attached to where you live and where you are. But when Jupiter contacts something very personal in your chart, it may be prompting you to move forward, and you'll get the intuitive feelings, and you'll get the knowing to move forward, and you'll feel excited about it though, so you'll have that behind you. With Jupiter transits, so say if you're a Sagittarius and you've got Jupiter trine sun, as I said before, just be careful with overindulgence, because especially for Sagittarian people, and even for Leos as well, because Leos love to indulge in the good things of life, things that feel good, high quality things, and just that sense of indulgence, and the good things of life. So when Jupiter, with Jupiter in Leo, if it conjuncts your sun as well, if you're a Leo sun, or if you've got a lot of things in Leo or a lot of things in fire, and it's trining and conjuncting a lot of your things, a lot of your placements, sorry, be aware of overindulgence and sort of the darker side of Jupiter, which is, as I say, overindulgence, overdoing things, burning the candle at both ends. Staying up way too late, you could be like staying up all night playing video games because you just think it's fun. you could be just doing something too much of a good thing. You know that saying, getting too much of a good thing, it's not always a good thing. It can actually burn you out. It can affect your health negatively. It can, you know, it's that overindulgence which affects the balance of your body, mind, soul. So just be aware, if you're someone that's got a lot of fire in your chart and you've got a Jupiter, some Jupiter, you know, contacts, you're definitely going to have opportunities, but just be careful of that overindulgence aspect with it, and overspending as well. Overspending, being overly generous, saying yes to everything, taking on way too much. You know, you may have a lot of opportunities and you may not know what to say no to. You need to sort of maybe be a bit more discerning with what you're saying yes to, that type of thing. So, you know, sometimes people can also receive a lot of abundance when they, well, that's a common thing actually with the Jupiter transit, that you do receive a lot of abundance, but you may be spending it just as quickly as you're making it. So just be aware of that. That is a typical thing that can happen. You know, if you have a lucky transit with Jupiter where it trines your Venus or contacts your part of fortune, or you know, a couple of placements at one time, and you do come into a lot of money, say for example, which is quite possible under that type of transit, be careful not to just blow it all, you know, in a very short amount of time. So these are the sort of things that you would consider with Jupiter transits. But ultimately, Jupiter transits push us forward on our destined path. They're really exciting transits. They can often see us move or change, or bring in a lot of money, or, you know, boost abundance, boost ourselves in some really exciting way that feels very uplifting. And also, I would say, you know, look at the other transits that you have at the same time as your Jupiter transits, because say for example you have a lot of Pluto transits while you've got Jupiter transits, that's going to be a really deeply life transformational for you. So Pluto transits are very heavy transits, they're very long-term transits, and they can make you feel quite, you know, heavy and depressed and needing to face a lot of fears. But if you've got a Jupiter transit after a heavy Pluto transit, well, that can really boost you forward and really change your life in a really powerful way that it's like you'll never be the same again. So look at what you've got going on. If there's Neptune as well as Jupiter, there can be a lot of idealism. There can be a tendency to come into money but possibly spend the money too quickly again, or there can be issues with addictions as well with Jupiter and Neptune transits at the same time. But always look at the other transits, you know, if there's Saturn influences or that sort of thing. So, you know, at the moment Jupiter's in Leo, but Saturn's also in a fire sign, so it's going to be tempering that energy just somewhat. It's a trine from Saturn to Jupiter, but it's still going to be tempering a little bit. So you may be aware that if you do receive a lot of abundance, you will be aware of that you don't want to just spend it all in one go and that sort of thing. Or you may feel that you can see how to apply that money to your life in a positive way to, you know, look at long-term goals and how you want to save some of that money, as an example. So that was pretty much it. It was just a very quick video about what to expect with Jupiter transits. If you have any questions, just post them below. And yeah, I just wanted to touch on sort of the darker aspect of Jupiter, which is tendency to overindulge and overdo it. And that's all. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Bye.